Risings, Grand Rising, HPQ, and how are you this morning?
Grand risings to everyone. Good morning, everybody. I thought you was never going to bring me on. I thought, oh, was Sharky doing the news? Let me go back and relax. Let me go back and relax there.
No, that's your job. That is your job, sweetheart.
Some interesting news there. What you were saying about seatbelts and everything, because they're trying to bring in a new law for our young people. Because there's been quite a few accidents from our young people learning to drive on the roads. And I think they're saying how many more young people need to die before action is taken. So one of the UK's largest motoring organisation has supported driving licence changes, which would see new rules impacting our young people. Now, it's the AA in particular. You know, we've got the RAC and the AA, the two biggest motoring organisations. They're calling for the introduction of a graduated driver's licence, a GDL, in a boost to bid road safety by imposing strict limitations on people who have recently passed their driving tests. And one of the main features of this GDL is to limit same-age passengers for newly qualified drivers for the first 6 months after they pass their practical test. So basically what they're saying is that if you've just passed your test, especially, I don't know what qualifies or defines as young. Is it under the age of 25, under the age of 30, under the age of 40? I still say 55 is young, so, you know, they should talk about all of us. But they've yet to quantify what young is, and when we work that out, then we can see how it may affect our young people. But they're saying there's too many road accidents. They want to address the teenage deaths on the road. 1 in 5 young drivers crash within a year of passing their test. And a further 1,500 young drivers are killed or seriously injured each year, in addition to 5 people being killed on the road every single day. 5 people are killed on the roads every single day. Can you believe that? That's a staggering statistic. So they're saying that they need to address something in regards to young people. Obviously, yes, they need to learn how to drive. They need to get on the roads. But are they emotionally aware enough to take on driving and being safe? No. Well, do you know what? Some adults can't drive. Yesterday when we went, remember that guy that was speeding around the corner?
Oh, gosh.
I was going to have a word. I really was. I was waiting to have a word.
It was actually a young driver. He looked actually quite young, to be honest with you.
He looked middle-aged. He looked like in his 30s. I didn't get a good glance in. My eyesight's going now. But do you think that's a good thing? Do you think that should be imposed, that our young people shouldn't be allowed to have any passengers that are particularly young? So what they're saying is that you can kill an older person, but you can't kill a younger person.
Yeah.
Are they trying to kill us off? I know that they don't want to pay us a pension, and pension ages are rising. So what they're saying is that young people, because I'm trying to work out the logistics of this and how it would work. So an 18-year-old's driving, they can't have another 18-year-old in the car, but they can have an older person. Does that mean the older person would stop them from speeding? What if the older person is bad influence on the younger person?
Well, it's a start, isn't it? It's a start. You know, I see where they're going, because obviously with youngsters, they're encouraging each other to go faster, or, you know, the excitement in the car, drinking alcohol and all that kind of thing. And, you know, we've been a youngster, it's all about, it's that adrenaline in it. You know, they feel that they know a car, that they've got experience, that they can drive, that they can handle it, which is not the case.
But you know what? There's some older people who can't drive, who do drink and drive, and who don't handle themselves on the road. Really don't handle themselves on the road.
When they do get caught or whatever, you know, bad driving, they should be made to either do their test again or get points on their license. You know, make it strict. And I do believe in strict when it comes to driving.
Send them to jail then, because, you know, do you know, good morning, everybody. Now, I say send them to jail, right, because Sharky is wicked, right, as far as I'm concerned. Sharky's wicked. We had this debate going on yesterday about this, and she went to court yesterday, by the way, about this young lady that had sex with an inmate in the cell, and it was filmed and it went viral. Now, Sharky and I went head to head yesterday. We had a good debate, thoroughly enjoyed it. And Sharky's like, jail her, and I'm like, it's not an offence enough. So, you know, jail everybody, Sharky, you know?
No, not everybody. No, you know what, in hindsight, what you were saying, I mean, I do understand, you know, I'm going into it too much, but I mean, you know, I sent you that story of what happened to that nurse in America, and she was just a nurse. Thank you very much, GeForce, for sending me that story. and she got some serious. I think it was 88 months for every crime or every rule broken in America. But that's America for you, isn't it?
Yeah, they make money from their prisons. So the more they send them to prison, the more money that the
The more
private
prisons that they open
organisation.
up.
Yeah, the more people they can take off, the more people that are not claiming benefits. I don't know. It kind of works for them, that poor system that they have. But in saying that, and it was really controversial yesterday in terms of the commentary because it is divided. She did break
Yeah,
the law and she is in a position of trust and therefore
yeah.
they should be come down harder upon. But we see police officers getting away with more than that and not
Mm.
even going to jail, not even paying any penance. They get suspended and that's it. And this is a police officer. So this is what I'm saying to you. A woman just having sex with someone did not injure anybody. And so I didn't understand. But coming away from that subject, because we had a strong debate on it already yesterday, let's move on to Trump. Let's
Yeah.
move on to Trump because
Oh,
Trump,
don't
right,
even start me with Trump.
Trump was being indicted, right, for causing trying to overturn the 2020 presidential election when he caused that stampede and riot on Capitol Hill,
Yeah.
where some of the governors feared for their life and everything. Now, it looks like that he's going to get away with it.
It does look like he's going to get away with it, and it's really not fair. I mean, in America, if you've got a criminal record, there are things that you cannot do, and he has gonna, he's done one of the worst crimes in American history in terms of political office, and he's able to run again. I mean, you can't even vote if you committed certain crimes in America. So I don't understand how does he get away with it. It just
Be-
really goes to show there's somebody up there pulling strings.
Because as president, like a diplomat, remember the diplomat that did a hit and run and ran and left the country?
Yeah,
There was a young boy that he was severely disabled. Something happened to him. She was a diplomat driving the car. It was a hit
yeah.
and run. She left the scene and then she left the country.
Mm.
And because she didn't want to be prosecuted. And diplomats have automatic immunity.
That's right.
And Trump has immunity also. And I think it's an absolutely ridiculous law that should you be a diplomat or a president, that you can't be indicted. You're above the law. Come on.
It looks like
And
they are.
And that's what Joe Biden was saying. We'll talk about Joe Biden in a minute. That he says it's setting a dangerous precedence when somebody can be so above the law that they can do what they want. And then he's going to run for office again. And we've got someone who's breaking the law continuously, consecutively. And they're saying, vote him in for president. What is that
What's
saying
going
to
on?
us in the rest of the world? I honestly don't understand what's going on in the world anymore. We got the elections going on in the UK, the 4th of July, everybody. And normally I'd be telling people to vote, right? I was a staunch believer in voting for whichever party that you believe in or had the best manifesto. But honestly, this election is a shambles. It's a complete and utter shambles. And there is no one particular party that I feel like, yeah, Labour, great policies, great manifesto. I'm voting for them, and I'm going to encourage
Yeah.
everybody else to do that. There is not one party, and my fear is that we're going to get a party, and that's going to absolutely annihilate the UK.
Yeah.
We are already in a crisis from what the Conservatives have done for the last 14 years. They've absolutely just taken, I shouldn't say this word, but raped the coffers of middle class, working class and people that haven't got any money, and basically just scraped everything that could have been free or given or anything like that. And we are just suffering. The whole of the UK is suffering. Mental health services we don't have any. Schools are a nightmare. Hospitals, the NHS is a nightmare. Dentists, you can't even get a dentist appointment on the NHS. Doctors, let's not even go there. They want to bring in clinical physicians now to diagnose you, or go to the chemist instead of the doctor for low-level things, which is understandable. You've got a cold. But the chemist can't diagnose whether you've got a cold or whether you've got an underlying bigger symptom like cancer or a tumour or something going on, which can be disguised by several different other symptoms. So,
Yeah.
gone are the days. I remember my mum used to go to the doctors and have deep and meaningful conversations, like a whole hour in there. You got 5 minutes with a doctor. How's a doctor going to diagnose you in 5 minutes? Now, I've just moved from about 3 different subjects
I
there.
don't
I've gone
understand
from
that, but I
gone
don't
from
understand that
Trump.
myself. I really don't.
I don't know. Anyway, I just went on a little mini rant there. So let me
There's
just say
nothing
good
wrong with
morning.
going on. There's nothing wrong with a little rant, you know. That's what the morning show is for. We rant about what goes on out there, what we can't do anything about. We can try. There's no harm in trying, but it starts with planting the seed, isn't it? And then let it grow.
It does. So good morning to everybody on Mixcloud. Good morning on HPQ's Mixcloud. Nice to see it so lively this morning. Shabab,
Yeah, very
good
lively,
morning.
yeah.
D Brown, good morning to you. Verona, good morning. Chris Salmon, good morning to you too. And good morning everyone on Sharky DJ's Mixcloud, which I don't have, so I'm going to let Sharky do all the hellos on there. So Sharky, should we play a track and come back with something else after this?
Why not? So, there's been a lot of chat in the chat room in regards to the doctor's
Yes.
appointment. Absolutely.
Yeah, it is. It's 5 minutes is absolutely ridiculous, but that's all doctors are giving you. I remember, and we were talking about appointments, trying to get appointments. I could not believe that someone said you have to fill out a form, right? And then they will get back to you. That's absolutely crazy. They won't do telephone anymore. I know that much. I know they've taken off the telephone. Where I lived before in my local area for my doctors, I remember it was so easy. I'd been with my doctors for God knows how many years. Used to ring up, get an appointment the same day or the day after. Gone are those good old days, right? When you get appointments same day as an emergency or the next day. And they used to only take appointments a week at a time. So you'd ring up, no, we've got no more appointments. You'd have to ring every day, right? Every day, because it would just extend by 7 days every day that goes in. So I'd have to ring every day to get an appointment to see if there's any cancellations. Not that we'll call you back or anything. And they'll be like, we're fully booked for the week, call back next week. Or call back every day to see if we've got any cancellations. How crazy is that? It took me about 2 months to get me an appointment at my doctor's. 2 months. And then the problem is that if you protest or make too much noise, you know they can strike you off the list.
Really?
Yes, they can. Doctors can strike you off the list and say that you can't come to the surgery anymore. You can't take them to court either. No, doctors can strike you off that list. So don't go rampaging through the surgery and causing havoc. They would just turn around and say, we don't want to deal with you anymore, and simply strike you off.
I mean, if someone's rude, yes, definitely. Yeah, if you're totally rude. But, you know, if you protest in terms of talking to them and saying, well, you know, I need an appointment or whatever, you know. I think what did someone say that you should do when you go to the doctors? There's something that you should do, and they have to see to you certain. If you turn around and say, my heart is hurting me, or something like that, or, you know, something serious, they have to attend to you straight away.
Yeah, you have to say you've got some serious symptoms. You know, you're either you're at the point of suicide, or you're having heart problems.
Yeah.
Or if you're known to be like a patient that has conditions which needs to be treated immediately, diabetes, maybe sickle cell, things like that. It's a bit like the police. If you're at home and you call the police and something's happening, I feel like there's someone outside my house to call the police. They might not come around for a couple of hours, right?
Yeah.
But if you call the police and say that someone outside my house with a gun, you'll see them there immediately. So if you ever need police at your house very quickly, say the person's got a knife and they've tried to stab you, or they've got a gun, and they will come down to your door very quickly. But if it's just some normal misdemeanor, they don't even come out. You don't see police on the roads anymore, walking the streets. You hardly see them in cars. I don't see very many of them.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. I mean, the other day I was driving through, Hackney, and I saw one plane. There was about 7 plain clothes officers, or, you know, unmarked cars. They were just like coming out of the side roads. They were coming out of everywhere. I was like, wow. It was like they were just, you know, one after the other. It was literally one after the other. About 7 cars flew past me going in the opposite direction. So much so, I was looking for my blue light to put on the top of my car to turn around and follow them.
Should have done that. Sorry, I was reading some Mixcloud chat here in your chat room. And by the way, Shabab says, Sharky DJ, Shanae is listening for a shout out. So Shanae, I will give you the shout out as well. Sorry. Oh, you have done.
Yes, well done. But you can give her another shout out.
Hello, Shanae. Right, so Melly Mel is saying, or VenRG saying, I use my company's private GP scheme if I need an urgent appointment. The NHS GP never has appointments. That is so good. When I used to have a permanent job, especially when I was working in banking, when I was working at Barclays, they had a GP in Barclays. They had a GP in there. They had a dentist in there. They had a GP in there. They had a dentist. Same as HSBC. HSBC had a currency, banking, finance, gym, restaurant. They had everything in HSBC, and
Everything.
certainly in banking as well. And you get these perks like there's an in-house GP because they don't want their employees to go off sick. They want you working to the bone. So go to the
Yeah.
in-house one. And I remember I used to use private healthcare because I just said that's one of the perks. And private healthcare is the way forward. I'm sorry, I'm not a middle class person, but these NHS waiting times, dentist times are just killing me. And I know not everyone can do it or afford it and everything. My dentist as well, I don't go NHS. They messed up my teeth many years ago. Got 2 caps here that I'm still waiting to change. And I've gone private after that because I had a root canal from the NHS. I thought I was going to die. I really did. I really did. And I was so frightened the next time I went to have one through a private dentist. I was literally shaking. And I'm not scared of dentists at all. But the pain I went through, I never wanted to go through that again. I don't think she knew what she was doing. So private all the way for me. I bite the bullet and pay private for my dentistry. I really do. And as for care, I just hope the next government that comes in will do something about this. Cares deeply enough about people. Conservatives do not care about the general public. They care about the business people and the wealthy. That's what the Conservatives care about. That we're fed the dregs, as far as I'm concerned. So I want either the Workers' Party or perhaps Labour. The Labour's always been on the side of the workers, but they're on the cuff. Keir Starmer doesn't really know what he's doing.
Yeah, but it's better than having the Conservatives back in again. I mean, you give the Conservatives more power for another 4 years, they'll absolutely wreck the poor. They really will. They really, we need to get them out. Even if we have to get Labour back in for a few years and change things, just get them in.
Yeah.
And
Verona Green says, I haven't been to the doctors for a year. I can't be bothered to get in. Now, that's really sad. That's a really sad state of affairs when you can't be bothered to go through that arduous process of trying to get a doctor's appointment. I mean, my local doctors, I've got to say, in the last year or two, whenever I've tried to make an appointment, I've got one quite immediately. But they are the worst in terms of admin.
Let's hope they're not listening.
They are the worst. I had some paperwork.
What's their real name? What's HPQ's real name?
I had a health questionnaire that I gave to them 3 times. They managed to lose it 3 times. Don't ask me how. 3 times they managed to lose it, lost it. Then I had referred for physio on my feet. I waited over a year. They said they had rushed it. They hadn't done a thing. When I go to the physio, they said, well, we've only just got this referral. I just thought, they're the worst in terms of admin. But I can get an appointment. Whether I got what happens after that is another thing, but I got an appointment. I got in.
You know what? I must admit, with my doctors down in East London, every time I've called them, I've managed to get an appointment as well. Be it 5 minutes. What I don't like is having different doctors. Because every time I go to a doctor, it's a different one, and that's how it is these days. You got different. Remember back in the days, I remember it was Dr. Woolston or something.
Dr.
Like
Gifford. Who remembers their doctor? How do you remember that? That's how you know that you were dealt with by doctors, right? Dr. Gifford.
I still remember what he looks like.
Yeah, Dr. Gifford,
a white guy, grey hair, and But these days, you get a doctor every time you go in. You get, I've had doctors that are, new, ones that are old. But there are some good doctors out there. I have a friend who's a doctor. She's a very good doctor as well. It's difficult. And does anyone have a personal doctor? They see the same doctor all the time in the Mixed Cloud there. Just let us know.
I used to before she kind of went part-time and then retired. She was really good. I used to ask for her and I used to get her, and she exactly knew what to do. In fact, she was the one that wrote my sick note for my last company. That when they didn't give me my flexi time or working from home, I went immediately off sick. I'd been planning it for months. I hope my new employees are not listening. I've been planning it for months, thinking if they do this, that's it. I'm going off sick with depression. So I'm going to the doctors. I'm depressed. And then finally, when the day happened, I went, I'm depressed. Sign you off. Sign me off again. And I only went back to work for my last day. I'd resigned while I was off sick. I went back to work. I should have just taken that sick for 6 months before I resigned, but I didn't get another job.
Oh
I,
dear.
I did get another job, but yeah, my old doctors, because I was very ill as a youngster. I suffered from asthma. I was in and out of hospital. Dr. Gifford, never forget him. He was my doctor for about a good 20 years, my first 20 years of my life, first
Yeah.
15 years of my life, I should say. Does anyone else remember their doctors? Does anyone have a
Yeah.
rapport
D-Light says
with their
she's.
doctors?
Yeah. Did she say the same? Or did D-Light say the?
No, she says I get a same day
Oh
GP
right.
appointment every time. But yes, Delight, you've got a medical condition, so you need to be seen. You're in that top 1% of emergencies that need to be seen immediately. So I understand, and it's good that your doctors understand your symptoms and the severity of what you're going through in order to push you through every time. But we don't have that with some of these newfangled doctors, especially the ones that come in. They don't know you. They just see you on a piece of paper. Oh, she's got that. She's going to have to wait in the queue with everybody else. And it's totally, totally unfair. It really is. And I remember the last time I went to the doctors, where I used to live before, and I remember giving her my symptoms, and she looked at the screen and she scrolled. She like put in the symptoms, and it was like this computer was telling her what I've got and what tablets I should be taking without really giving me a glance. Took my blood pressure, checked my heart. Yep, let's prescribe you all of this. And I looked at the tablets and just put them to one side. I don't even like taking tablets. And I want to go the homeopathic way. And I think that's what we should be doing. What we put in our body, what we feed our body is so important to our health. And we need to take care of it. And we're not doing enough to take care of our bodies. Therefore, they're breaking down in this horrible world we're living in with everything else we're getting in our foods. And it's making us ill. But I
Yeah.
think we should take a look at what we're fueling our bodies with, especially some of the issues we have. You've got a headache. It isn't always a paracetamol you need to take. What's driving that headache? What could you do otherwise to ensure you don't have that headache instead of taking ibuprofen, paracetamols, pumping yourselves full of these chemicals that we don't know what is doing to us? And the more that I read, the more that I watch, is the more that I really understand that nature was allowing us to take care of ourselves. They didn't put
Yeah.
all these plants and fruits and herbs and things like that for it to just grow wild, for us to just flavour our food. They are there for a reason. Cloves, cinnamon, mangoes, ackee, breadfruit, all of these foods are designed to do something for us, right? Not these newfangled styles where I see some woman making some kind of cassava dish with some all bits and pieces in it, and I'm thinking, what are you doing to our food? Now the price
And
of cassava will go up even higher.
and they call it superfoods for a reason. Yeah, they do call it superfoods for a reason, and I think the education around food, we don't have enough education around natural food and how we can heal our bodies naturally. I'll tell you who are the best doctors in the world. Our parents and our grandparents, they knew everything. This
Old
happens,
school
have that. Have
Jamaicans.
that, have that. This, that, have that. Caribbeans, all the different foods in the world, these superfoods, and our parents, they never went to the doctors. They just healed themselves. You got like Sirisi, you've got like merengue, you've got all these different teas that you can drink that heals your body. You've got like the different mangoes. You've got
Is it moringa seeds? That's supposed to be very, very good for you.
merengue. Yeah, you've got those seeds in there, and the people don't know about it because they filtered you on drugs. And every time that something goes wrong, the first thing we look to is drugs. But there's a whole load of natural ingredients out there that can heal you, but they just don't want you to know. Because it does knock the pharmaceutical industry, doesn't it?
Well, they're a money-making industry. They're not there to make you better. They're there to take your money. Now, Delight says, drink water first for the headache. Flush your body with water. I've started to drink lots of water now. I want to try and drink at least 8 glasses as a minimum per day. And I do that because I dilute my tea a lot. I have one peppermint tea, and that tea bag just gets diluted with hot water all day.
Yeah.
It does. So I'm flushing my system with water. Now,
But
morning, Kimmy Kim. Long
good
time,
morning,
my
Kimmy
darling.
Kim.
And Venarji, Spice Nice says, I went to my docs and the trainer, and they want to give me medication, and my doc says she don't do medication unless she don't take anything. Sorry. And my trainer said, probably a trainer says don't take medication. I think I read that a little bit wrong, Spice Nice. Laurie says ibuprofen damages your intestines if taken on a regular basis. It does something to you,
It's got to. It's not natural, is it? The thing about it is, it's like I do say in the morning time, and it's something that I try to get myself is drinking lemon tea. The first thing you get up in the morning, they say drink lemon, natural lemon, cut it up, put it in the water, and drink a couple glasses of that every single morning, and that should flush out all the toxins in your body for the night, for the start of the day. But we get up, we drink tea, we drink coffee. If you look at tea and coffee, right, leave coffee in the cup for a couple hours and come back, you see all the stains around the side. The same thing
Like
with
tea.
tea and all the other stuff that we bring. I mean, tea's supposed to be natural, but we don't know what they put in it. So it's that kind of thing that you got to look at. If it's staining the utensils that we're using, what's it doing to your body? So you have to find a way of cleansing that.
Well, I read an article the other day about water, and they're saying, bottled water specifically, don't leave it in your car because the heat does something to the plastic, which then releases chemicals into the water. So, and they say, don't use the same water bottle and refill it and take it to the gym all the time. You must get rid of your water bottles. And I'm thinking, why are they containing chemicals? Water's supposed to be pure. I want a pure water bottle.
Yeah,
So if I leave it for a day and I want to drink it the next day, it should not be contaminated. And
Right,
everything's
especially
got
use glass.
Even then,
Even then.
what properties are they made out of?
Exactly. I mean, talking about water, I mean, I have an uncle in Jamaica. He's 95 years old. And honestly, if I showed you a video of my 95-year-old uncle, I mean, lifting and walking. And where my grandmother comes from, a place called Sturgetown in St. Anne in Kingston, sorry, in Brownstown in St. Anne's, just outside there, the people there live to an average of 90 to 110 years old. And they did a big survey down there, and they went down there and did a little research, and they found that the water that was from Sturgetown was, a really good water to drink. My uncle lives in Kingston. Every single time he drives down to Sturgetown to get his water, fills it up, comes back and drinks it. And honestly, I couldn't stop drinking it. I could taste the difference in that water. I wanted to bring some back to the UK, but it wouldn't last.
My water in my
Natural
house
water.
is awful. I cannot drink tap water. I just cannot. I don't
This
know
one
what's
comes
in
straight
it.
from the spring.
Yeah.
Yes,
And-
you
and
have
I
to go down
think-
to the spring to pick it up. Yeah.
I know. And even then, when they talk about all this water we're buying, bottled water all the time, how do we know it's bottled water? How do we
We don't know.
know?
We don't know if it's spring water. Of course, I mean, if you drink water regularly, you will taste the difference in the water. If you're a water drinker, naturally all the time, you will taste when the water taste is different. You will taste it.
Because wasn't it Nestle with their Pure Life range that
Yep.
said it came from some spring and it really didn't come from a spring? So I avoid that particular water. Yeah, I've got to find that article actually. I'll find it. We'll go for a break in a second.
What
But
we'll
I've got
do-
to. I've
Yeah,
got
go
to
on.
find that. I've got to find that article on it. But just very quickly, just to read some bits in the
I was
chat.
gonna say play a track and then come back and read the bits after that. Yeah, I'm gonna
And
bust
we
it
are
out.
having some great chats up there, and I don't know what's happened to my Mixcloud. Did I shut my Mixcloud down by complete
Tell you what,
accident?
Mixcloud, they really need to sort themselves out. We're trying to run a program and they just mess up. I mean, it's going round in circles for some. People have to reinstall, uninstall. It's disgusting. Come on, Mixcloud, sort yourself out.
It's been a bit of a nightmare for the past couple of months, I've got to say. It really has been. It's hold on one second. There we go. Right, so I've got my Mixcloud back. So D Brown says, Dr. Sebi's the way forward. Bell me HPQ, Sharky, I'll hook you up with these books. Don't worry about that. I've got another person that came on one of my virtual couch shows. He's a certified homeopathic doctor and believes in what we intake in our body can actually help heal the body. And I'm going to refer you to him. So let's swap around and see who's good. I'm going to get him in one of my shows again because he did a fantastic talk on our bodies and what he actually does and where he practices. And he does come to London a fair few times. And Debra, Neelock Nella, good morning. Yup, warm water, lemon. First thing a morning is the lick. The only thing about hot water and lemon is that the acid from the lemon could have erode your teeth. So try and brush your teeth afterwards. Don't drink it all day, please, because the acid
Yeah,
from
just
the
in the morning
lemons.
time. Just in the morning time.
Brush your teeth afterwards or rinse your mouth afterwards out, especially if you're doing that. Now, D Brown says copper containers said to be best for purified water. On your chat, Sharky, let's have a look. Melly Mel says, Melly Mel says we really need to start looking after ourselves properly and start to take natural herbs. I take sea moss every morning and night. Also, drink all these natural herbs boiled with water and drink that every morning and night too. I also drink at least 2 litres of water every day too, and Sharky's gone. Laurie says I stopped taking over-the-counter pain relief a long time ago. Melly Mel says I drink dandelion and burdock root, which tastes like coffee, but this is in a healthy way. Ven RG says, I used to drink that. I will look to getting some. And, yeah. Delight says, Sharky, you're frozen. He's just come off. I think he's just had a complete takeaway there. I haven't even got music set up, so I can't even play that. So I'm going to have to talk myself through this. Now, whilst we were playing music, I was looking up about water. And is bottled water better than, and you're echoing there, is bottled water better than tap water, and what are the differences? And we don't really think about this when we're buying water. We just see bottled water, we just pick it up, buy it, and think, great, that will do, that's fine. But there's differences, because you've got tap water, of course, okay, and then we've got mineral water, and then you've got spring water. Now they're all different. Now, the only thing I would say is that the government is trying to cut down on how much waste or whatever they're charging us for plastic bags, which is a complete con. And do you know that the UK population buys 7.7 billion single-use plastic bottles every year, and 91% of those plastic water bottles aren't recycled, and around 1,500 plastic bottles are thrown away every second, and 60 million plastic bottles end up in a landfill every day. Now, wow. I was watching, before I even go on to water, I was watching a program where they were trying to film. There's a part in the ocean or a sea or somewhere it is, I've got to find it actually, where it's almost like debris nation. It's millions of, those nets, sea fishing nets, plastic bottles, all the discards that people have taken off their boats or flung into the sea. And the water's kind of swept it all up in a little mini, I couldn't even say oasis, like a little mini bottle island. It's millions of miles, I wouldn't say millions, thousands of miles of bottles, debris and waste just floating in the sea. We've got oil spills going into the sea. We've got nuclear bombs blowing up under the sea, and now we put more waste in there. And we buy 7.7 billion plastic bottles, but the government wants to charge us for plastic bags. How much sense does that make? Why are you charging us for plastic bags and you're letting us buy bottles and use bottles and letting companies make more and more plastic bottles and then tell people don't leave your water in plastic bottles, so then we throw them away, and half of them are not recyclable, and the government doesn't enforce that whatsoever, nor does Europe, nor does the States. Why are they not doing something about that? The waste of bottles, plastic. Why are we still drinking water out of plastic bottles?
Shouldn't be. Definitely
we
not.
Shouldn't. Now, coming back to the differences between spring, mineral and so forth, and I was just reading this article here. Now, mineral water, people believe bottled water is better than tap water. Okay, but basically mineral water has to, by law, be pulled from a named, naturally occurring underground mineral spring that's constantly flowing. And its original purity needs to be maintained, and its composition, which should be on the label. All right, and it should remain stable over time. And mineral water needs to be bottled at source, free of contaminants and not chemically treated. All right, that's what mineral water is. Now, spring water is an alternative to bottled mineral water. So Highland Spring is the UK's most popular brand, as you know, or even, well, yeah, it is. Evian is not mineral water. And spring water should come from an unnamed source and be free of any contaminants also. It must be bottled at the source, and it can't be chemically treated. And spring water isn't subject to as many regulations as mineral water in the UK. So while it still may contain many minerals, it may have more or less. And there's no legal obligation to tell us what spring water constitutes or what's in it. So many spring water sources may be the same as our mains water sources. So we could be paying to buy the same stuff that comes out of our tap, minus the chlorine and other contaminants it may pick up.
Wow.
So there you go, people. There's a difference, right? When we buy water, we don't look at whether it's spring, mineral, wherever it's coming from. So spring water does not have all the legal obligations that mineral water has to go through. It can contain much more contaminants, and we don't know what's in it. So please, no more spring water. Drink mineral water or filter your own water. That way you
Yeah.
know it's free of contaminants.
Maybe we should just go and get some filtered water. Yeah, just get that one of those filtered water things and just do it that way. If you're gonna
Yeah.
drink the tap water, that tap water is disgusting, though, isn't it?
Oh,
Some of it.
I sipped some the other day. I was feeling a bit nauseous, and I had to try and make myself sick. And I thought, let me just drink a little bit of water from the tap to get some saliva down my throat. Oh, I couldn't even swallow it. I had to spit that back out, and then I didn't feel nauseous again. That put a stop to it. It's awful, absolutely awful from the tap. I would never drink tap water.
The clue, obviously, with water is if it's in your iron, because you put it in your iron, and you see all the rubbish that comes out of
The
your
lime
iron,
scale.
the lime scale, all around your bath and stuff like that. So it just goes to show you really and truly what you're putting in your body, and it's having to flush that out all the time. I do try not to drink.
Well, who
tap water?
Who was it the other day? Because I've got an article about this. I'm moving to and from articles because so much is going on. But
9 o'clock. It's 9 o'clock.
Let's go to a break. We'll come back.
We'll be back after the break.
I'm enjoying it too much today.
You are. You definitely are. Oh dear.
I'm laughing because I'm looking at the next subject that I'm going to tackle, because we've done a little bit on health and bottles and everything, and I hope that we've imparted some good information on the rest of the Mixclouders. But now over to something different, still in regards to health. It's a bit more of a dilemma, really. And it was an article I read about this person that said they lived in dubious parts of the town, in London town. And one day they opened up their door to find that a person had collapsed on their doorway. And it was a crack addict. And they were bleeding from their mouth, and they rang 999, and the operator says, you have to give it mouth to mouth.
You know that ain't happening.
And the person said, they had to think for a minute, and they were speaking to the operator, and the operator said, the choice is yours. It's a life or death situation. It's your choice. And the person said they deliberated for a while and thought, you know what, I'm going to do this. And they convinced they were going to die. Obviously, if the person's got blood bleeding from their mouth, there's absolutely no way. I don't care. Unless it was my child, right, or my partner, it's just not happening. It's just not happening. Exchanging blood, open wounds into saliva into your body, it's not good when you don't know what's in it. And it's a crack addict as well. And no, I don't know. That person might have to say goodbye, start reading the last rites whilst he's still alive. God bless this dear soul. Sorry your life's taken so soon.
Thank you, sir. And that
Thanks
breath
for
in mind is like, I do hope you go to a good place in the afterlife.
Yeah. Do you want me to tell your family anything? Tell us your last words.
Any last wishes? Oh dear.
No, but seriously, who would do it? Who would do mouth to mouth? I remember when I was doing my first aid training, we spoke about this, saying you got someone who's a crack addict or got cold sores all around their mouth. What if they had cold sores all around their mouth?
Yeah, in my first aid kit, I've actually got a mouth-to-mouth resuscitation kit. So basically, you put the tube in their mouth, and then it goes over their mouth, and you just blow into it and pump. Yeah. So I do carry that around with me when I'm on holiday. A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah, but we don't carry around with it day to day. It's not like, oh, I've got my lipstick and my resuscitation kit in my bag.
Like you said, if it's not a friend, that person dead, dread. I'm just like, you know what? I'll do the heart pumps. You know what I mean? But there's things that you can do. You can get a plastic bag, put over their mouth, put a hole in it, and blow over the plastic bag. If there's things like that you can do if you can find a plastic bag.
So you're contaminating yourself with plastic from the plastic bag, and also look. We're trying to get healthy here. Delight. She said no face guards. I'd find one plastic bag and put over their face. So
exactly.
We're going to contaminate ourselves with plastic. All the chemicals in the plastic that we're salivering around.
Listen, I prefer the chemicals from the plastic, darling.
What if it's a shopping carrier bag that you just had some meat in? The blood's still in the bag there.
Well, you put the meat on their side, innit? You put the meat on their side, you pump the hole, and you blow the meat into their front. I mean, they should be lucky that you're giving them breath of air. You're not going to put the meat on your side, are you? Duh.
Sorry, that just cracked me up. Put the meat side on there. What kind of wickedness is that? What kind of wickedness is that?
I want the meat over my mouth for. I'm not want no meat over my mouth. I'm giving you. I'm sorting you out. You're not sorting me out. You take the meat, mate. You take all the blood from the cow and the pig. You know what I mean? Or the fish bones or whatever, the fish smell. You have
Oh,
that on your face. You deal with that when you get up, man. You just thank me that I kept you alive. That's what you want to thank.
Delight says Una too full. I'm sorry. Meat. I don't want the meat side. Imagine you're trying to do an emergency and you're trying to work out which is the good side, the bad side. You're having the meat side. You're dying.
You know what I mean? You're taking the inside of the bag. It's all right. I'll deal with the dust and everything on the outside.
Oh God, that cracked me up too much. But yes, people, let me know. I'm gonna move on to another subject right now. But let me know. Would you mouth to mouth resuscitate a crack addict? You know, you walk in the streets of say like Birmingham or Brixton or London, and they fall at your feet, suddenly start having a massive heart attack and foaming at the mouth. And you know, you ring the operator and says, you know, you're gonna have to do all of this. Yes, I'll pump his heart, but I don't know. I'd have to think twice. You know, it's that 10 seconds between does he live or does he die, you know? But
Him
anyway,
dead. Him for dead. Anyway, you know what? Let me carry on with the show, yeah?
it's true. We're too wicked. No, I would certainly give him mouth-to-mouth resuscitation, no problem.
As long as there's a bag.
As long as there's a bag. A clean bag and not the meat side. Anyway, coming on to a different subject now. We were talking about unfairness, especially at doctor's surgeries and things. Let's talk about unfair parking surcharges. Now, I love technology. And I love the fact, remember when you used to go into a car park or on the road, you used to put your change in, it cost £1.80. It's never a round figure. If you notice, the council's always said it wasn't a pound, it was always 90p, right, or 80p. And you'd put in your pounds and it would say, you will not get any change. So the councils will pocket in all the change, and they will do that structures just so they know that people wouldn't have exactly the amount of change to put into the meters. Good ploy. Then we had Ringo, which is wonderful. When Ringo came in, I thought, great, we're now not losing any money. We can just pay on the app. And I've just recently realised that, and this has been over the years, when it first came on, the councils used to take in the amount that Ringo would charge them. So like the extra 50p's, the extra 40p's, the council used to take that in. Now the councils are actually passing it back to the drivers, which I've noticed every time you pay on a Ringo app, it's like if it costs £2 for the car park, it's costing you £2.50 to park in the car park.
Yeah.
And councils are raking money from this. Especially when you're using council car park. I think they're all council car parks, not private ones. And the premium is up to 50p a stay. An extra 50p to pay on the apps. And as I said, they previously absorbed, that's the word I was looking for, absorbed the fees, and they call them convenience fees. But in the recent years, they have saddled us with all these additional costs instead. Now,
do you know what that's called? It's called booking fee. That's a booking fee.
Convenience fee.
Yeah, no, it's a booking fee. Like what you do when you get tickets. The tickets actually cost £40, but £3 booking fee. It's the booking fee.
So for Hampshire Council, it pockets them an extra £15,000 a year in these extra little booking fees, convenience fees. Yep, they do. They call it the stealth tax on cashless parking, basically. And also there's optional extras. If you notice, you get them, and it says we'll send you a text message when it's coming up to the end of your stay, and that will cost around 15 or 20 pence per text when they notify you by SMS when you're 10 minutes away from expiry. So be careful when you sign up for some of these alerts to see what monies they are actually taking from you. Now, even the AA is saying the additional fees on the app are very, very dubious, and it's not always clear what you're paying for when you're using the app. So there's a fee, a convenience fee, or a booker's fee, a fee for getting the text message confirmation, and expiry reminder fees, all just one teeth. And surely it should be like the airlines. Give me one cost. I want to fly from here to here and carry a suitcase. What's it going to cost me? I don't want to know about all these add-ons at the end and adding them on and making the ticket much more than what I thought it would be. And local authorities need to take that back. But we know their skin, so they're not taking that back at all. But I'm just warning you guys, try and carry cash. Let's go back to some cash. And not everyone carries cash anymore because we're told we shouldn't carry cash. But carry some change in your car. I normally try and fling a few pound coins in. Or when you get change from your tenant, just leave some change in your car and use that for these machines, because you're paying that 40 pence. Imagine if you're parking every day, or twice a day, and you add up the 40, 50 pences that you're paying, over a month it adds up, over a year it does. Now, Ringo, which is the main parking people, they process 400 million in payments each year, and they have 17,000. They're in operation in 17,000 locations. They are the largest parking operator in the UK. Now, its rivals, I've got all of the apps. You've got Pay by Phone, Just Park.
Pay by
You've got
phone,
those.
yeah.
They just come with a 10 pence convenience fee. So Pay by Phone and Just Park, yes. Because remember when we went to the car park and I said if I pay by phone, it's cheaper than paying by Ringo, because the car park offered 2 services. So if you see it's Pay by Park or Just Park and Ringo, try use those ones and not just Ringo. Ringo charge you so much more. And be careful of the text messages that you get.
Some of them use Pay by Phone, some use Ringo, some use Just Park. Depends on which company is, But if there's a choice of 3, they normally have one company that uses them.
Yes, and you should try and just stick to Pay by Phone if you can. Ringo is an absolute thief. They really are. We shouldn't be using them at all. But what can we do?
Tunage.
Yes, please. Now I want to talk about another article about balmy decisions. And a primary school headmistress had successfully she's been awarded 100,000 after she was sacked and accused of assault for tapping her own toddler's son's hand when he was playing with a bottle of hand sanitizer.
Wow.
I know. So let's give you the background of the story. Now, she was a headmistress and she was sacked and accused of assault after just tapping her own toddler's hand while he played with a bottle of hand sanitizer. Now, her name was Shelley Ann. And she was trying to get her 3-year-old to stop playing with the bottle in her office when she used her 2 fingers to distract his attention, an employment tribunal heard. Now, the incident was witnessed by the teacher in charge of child safety, who accused this woman of hurting her son and filed an official complaint. Police officers were called in and the head was suspended. Now, despite the police ruling that her actions were reasonable chastisement by a parent, the same lady who's head of safety still took it to the the Teachers Association, and that particular head teacher was found guilty of gross misconduct and sacked. But she took her case to an employment tribunal, and the employment judge concluded there was no evidence that she committed physical chastisement or an assault and ruled her dismissal unfair. And she won £102,328 in compensation following her unfair dismissal case.
Did she get a job back?
Well, would you want to go back?
No, but
would you want to go back?
I would go back just to wind up the people that. Yeah, I definitely.
It's true.
Would.
It's true.
Just to get in the face of the safety face and just look at her, and I'd come in with a fancy car and look at this. Thank you very much. I say, oh, thank you for that.
Yeah, she said it was around 6:20 and she was packing up her things to go home after having a meeting with the safety head. She was a designated lead for safeguarding. All right. Her 2 children attended the school, were in her offices waiting for her to take them home. And her youngest son, who was 3 at the time, was in the room with her 11-year-old daughter. Now, she said her son took up the bottle of hand sanitizer, which was on the table. Her daughter told her that he had squirted some on the floor, so she took the hand sanitizer out of his hand. Right. And then what she did was that he picked it back up again, and then she turned towards him and she tapped his hand with his 2 fingers to get his attention, because I think he had his back turned to her, or something like that happened. And she just tapped his hand as if to say, listen to me, or don't do that. But this safety head said that it was assault. She said Ridiculous. It was assault and that she hurt her son, and absolutely just took it to a tribunal, and the woman got sacked. That woman should be sacked. Yeah. This woman was suspended. She has a disciplinary investigation launched. The authorities and the police called out. You tap your son's hands and that leads to a disciplinary investigation. I just think as parents, you should be able to have a level of discipline that you can put on your child without causing harm. A smack on the hand, right, is different from a punch in the face. It's completely different. Slapping your child on the leg is completely different from getting a belt and beating them. till they've got bruises on them. It's different. It really is. You should be able to have a level of discipline that you can hold towards your child. I don't believe in abusing children. I don't believe in beating children. Not the beats that we got anyway. We were that level of listen.
We took
Listen,
licks.
I don't even know how. We took licks of our parents. We took licks of schools. Remember corporal punishment?
Yep. They used to give us a cane. Yep.
Yeah, all of that. We took some serious licks, and it didn't make us all bad people. And now we've got a bunch of children that talk to parents how they wish, talk to senior people how they wish, and have a complete disrespect of anybody older than them. And we're saying that we're assaulting or abusing them by tapping them on their hands. Listen, some of these children do need a punch. You can't do it, but man, some of them do. Some of them really do.
Some of them need 12 of the best. You remember 12 of the best?
Listen.
Caning. 6 of the best and 12 of the best.
Yeah, remember they used to flex it. They used to flex it and run back and just like...
Oh, God.
Yeah?
Yeah, man. 12 of the best and 6 of the best, yeah.
But I don't believe that she should have been... It's like she was hung, drawn and quartered by just tapping her son on the back of their hand. And in May 2022, she was sacked. So luckily, the lady took this to court. And she got her job back. Well, she didn't get her job back. She won £102,000, which is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
Now, just talking about another subject very quickly around the same thing. Now, a mother, and this is for all you guys to take note of, because when you think that you are going to be offered a job or you're contracting and you get the sack and you think you've got no rights, you have rights. And I wish I knew all of this way back when. I'd have taken several employers to court. Now, a mum, she gets a £90,000 payout after a boss pulled a job offer when he asked about the kids' ages. Okay, now she had applied. It was a £68,000 a year role at some property investment house, and she had resigned from her role to take up this new job. Now she was asked to attend a Microsoft Teams meeting, which was described as a fresh interview. I have no idea why. Now they turned around and said they could not employ her as there was a freeze on headcount which came directly from China. That's what they told the actual tribunal. But what they had done was that they had offered her the job, and then I think through just a general chat, I think afterwards, they asked her about her children, they asked about how old they were, and they were young kids, and they decided that they were not going to offer her the job. Now, obviously, she'd been given the job, she'd resigned from her previous job, she didn't have another job to go to, so she took them to court. They tried to lie in court about there was a freeze on headcount and all sorts of other things, and there wasn't. They just did not want the woman to have the job because she had young kids, and the fear was that she was going to take way too much time off of work.
Ridiculous.
Well, that's the problem we've got as women, right? We've always had this problem where we need to be able to get to work on time, be at work on time, and leave on time, and manage children at the same time. And I think the work from home argument is far more greater than ever, especially for women. They're saying they want to get mums back to work, mums into technology, but we can't because we need to look after the kids. Schools don't finish at 6 o'clock. They finish at 3:30 or 3 o'clock. And there's not a lot of nursery places anymore, and nurseries are very expensive. So, she told them that the kids were 4 and 1 years old, and 6 days later, they withdrew the job. They withdrew it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Terrible.
So luckily she did take them to court. So all I'm saying to everybody is if you have an employer that's not treating you right, that's saying all the wrong things, being a little bit racist, using microaggressions, anything like that, take them to court. This is the time of court, man. Don't let no one get away with anything anymore. It's not the time. It's not the time. Sharky, look at me. But yes, it's not. Let's play a track and come back after this. I said, are you paying attention now, Sharky? I'm going to call you out on this. Do we have your attention,
Sorry,
sir?
I do apologise. I had an important text came through, which I was... but you always have my attention, yes.
All right. Do we have your attention now, sir?
You got my attention.
All right. Well, anyway, I'm bringing you the last piece of news because I need to run after this. Now, we're coming back to a little bit more on the health bit. And... I like to use these. Now, we all like to have our place smelling nice. And I use scented candles, I use burners, I use plugins because I've got 2 cats. And, I don't like the smell of cats in my house. I'm always washing the chair covers that I've got where my cats like to sit because they're unruly like that. And do we know that if this stuff is really good for us? You know, we don't want an unpleasant smell or stinky room. And what can we do to alleviate that? But some of these things that we're using is not very good for us. So, for example, one woman claimed that a car air freshener from the Bath and Body Works ended up sending her to the emergency room.
Wow.
And another said that the air freshener made her way through a 1-inch granite countertop and stained the wood underneath. And a further internet user simply advised about the various health warnings listed about air fresheners. Now, I like to use plugins, and we've been told we shouldn't use them. They are a fire hazard when you leave them in the electrical circuitry. It could cut the electrical circuitry and cause fires in houses. So please, if you're using these plugins with the switches on, try and switch them off after a while. But these candles and burners and things, they are chemically scented. Right, and the vaporized poisons hurt the lungs. Their waxy, oily residue builds up in our lung sacs. And if you're someone who doesn't smoke, but yet you love one of those plug-ins and air fresheners, they're saying you're better off removing them and starting to smoke. That is the actual reality of what toxins are in some of these air fresheners and candles.
Well, I must admit, I mean, from back in the day when I used to spray the air, we used to spray the air freshener. I never ever actually liked doing that, and I used to think to myself, what's in these things that we're breathing in? So you might use it to get rid of a natural smell, like your body odor or body fluids that's leaving your body. But what chemicals are actually in these odors or these odor killers that we are using?
Well, they're saying over 75% of air fresheners graded by an environmental working group, okay, and they focus on research and advocacy. They're saying over 75% of them contains either likely or potentially significant hazards to health or the environment.
Can you imagine?
I don't know how they pass standards and things like that. Why are we still allowing all these things to sell? And then, obviously, because we're out of Europe and, in fact, not even out of Europe, we're going to places like Temu, where we're buying stuff and we don't really know the potency of it. And I remember, actually, you can get those room fresheners and you get the sticks that sit in it. I can't remember what they're called, fragrance sticks that sit in them. Well, on my shelf, I normally have them in my office on my shelf, and the bottle spilled one day, and it stripped the paint. If you come and have a look in the room, the paint is stripped where that has fallen there, and I'm thinking, what is in this that is stripping paint? And I remember before when I was using nail glue, I had some that fell on my jeans. Remember that? And it burnt a hole through my jeans and burnt my skin. I've got a little scar on my leg where I was using nail glue. Yeah. So these products, and I'm thinking, we're putting this on our nails. What the hell is it doing? Very dangerous. So guys, be very careful of what we're using. We need to have a good think about what products we're using, what we're ingesting, and even all the topical creams that we're putting on our skins. We need to be careful. We definitely need to.
Definitely.
Well, that concludes HPQ's news for this week. I'm going to disappear and leave Sharky to get on with the rest of the show, and I will see you guys next week.
Thank you very much, HPQ, and catch you up soon. Paying the maximum attention.